Today we are going to be learning about equivalent fractions. So you need your workbook page 307 or your lesson page, and make sure it looks like this one that is on the screen. Okay, equivalent fractions are fractions that have the same value. I'm going to give you an example of 2. 4/4 has the same value as 8/8. Do you know why? Well, they both represent one whole. We've learned that 4/4 represents one whole of the fourths. If I have a whole divided into 8s, 8/8 also represents one whole. So let me erase those. So today we are going to be looking at not just wholes, but we are also going to be looking at other fractions that are equivalent. All right, so let's take a look at the top up here in this green box. And let's read the story. Aunt May planned to serve 1 pizza to 6 people. And here it is. Okay. So she cut her pizza into 6. Before serving the pizza, more relatives stopped by. She now wants to serve 1 pizza to 12 people. What will she do? Aunt May decided to make 6 into 12ths by repartitioning each piece into 2 pieces. Remember, partitioning is just cutting or dividing. Okay, so what she did was she took her pizza, she divided into 6, and all she did was add more cuts into it to make 12ths. And again, they need to be even cuts. Okay, so if you look down here at this, it looks like a number line. Okay, and it is. But let me change that. Okay, so it starts with 0, this particular number line segment. And here's where 1 is. So you can see all the numbers that fall in between. They're all fractions because from 0 all the way to 1, these are fragments of 1. They're just fractions of a whole. Okay. So let me erase all of those. Okay, so we found out that 6/6, if I look here, these are the lines that divide this one whole, remember the 1, into 6. Okay, so here's 6/6, and then I'm going to use this yellow. She had to cut the pizza into 12, so then she added more cuts to make 12 equal pieces. We found out 12/12 is the same as 6/6. See how it's right on top of each other right there? Just like if we look here at 3/6 is exactly the same value as 6/12. 2/6 has the same value as 4/12. All right, so let's take a look down below at number 1. Okay, we're going to repartition the figures to rename the halves. All right, so what we need to do is, first of all, look at the figure. Okay, it says 1/2 equals what? How many fourths? Well, we can see the colored part. See it right there. Okay. And we can see it's divided into 2. Mine has a little extra line there. Because whenever I was erasing the answers, I didn't get that part. But we're going to partition it into fourths. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to cut this across to make fourths. So add that cut across yours. And we can still see now that the brown stays the same, right? It's still in the same place, but now we have 2/4 that is the same in value as 1/2, because the brown covers 2/4 of the shape. All right, let's take a look at number 2. See how much the green covers? 1/2 of that circle. But now we can see they want us to divide it into 6. So let's do that. We're going to try to do this as evenly as possible. Okay. You should have 3 cuts on each side. All right. So how many 6 are colored green now? 3. All right, let's look at number 3. Ooh, we have 1/2, and they want us to divide that whole into 8ths now. So let's do that. Let's cut across. That makes 4. Then we'll cut each piece in half, like this. All right. Now how many 8ths are colored in? 4. So 1/2 is equivalent to 4/8. It's not so bad, huh? Okay, now for number 4, we're going to repartition the figures to rename the thirds. So instead of halves, we're going to do thirds. Okay, so you can see it's in 1, 2, 3 thirds. Okay, so 2/3 is equal to how many 6ths? Well, we're going to need to cut that in half to make 6 sixths. Okay. 2/3 would be equivalent to how many? Do you know? Well, let me label these to see if that helps. How many 6ths are colored? You said 4. You are right. 4/6. All right. Let's look at number 5. 2/3 is equal to how many 9ths? How do you think you would divide that to make 9ths? You already have 3. Let's make 2 cuts this way, and that would make 9ths. So, how many 9ths are colored in? 6/9. Very good. All right. Number 6. 2/3 is equal to how many 12ths? All right. Well, this is where your arrays come in. So you have 3 this way. How many do you think you can put? How many cuts would have to be on this side? How many pieces, I should say, to make 12? If you said 4, ding, 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 you are correct, because 3 times 4 is 12. So now we need to make sure that we have 4 pieces counting up this way. Okay. Okay, so how many pieces now are colored in? 8. All right, very good. Okay, now we're going to do the number line. Now they have this marked in fourths: 0/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4, because 4/4 equals 1. Okay, so if we're going to make more cuts in between, then what do you think those would be? These are the cuts we're putting in between. Well, let's see. Let's count from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are going to be 8ths. Okay. We got that all set up. All right, I'm going to erase this green line down here so we can see all of our numbers good. Well, all right. So we know that 0 would be 0/8, and then we also know that the whole, the equivalent would be 8/8. So all we have to do is start at 0 and start counting. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and we already did the 8/8. Okay, so now that we counted up our pieces into eighths, now they would like us to tell what 3/4, the equivalent to 3/4 is. So we want to look down here, find 3/4. What is the equivalent fraction to 3/4? It would be right above it, right here. 6/8. All right. Okay, so I need you to turn your page over. Because the lesson also continues on the back. Now, what if we don't have a number line to look at? And what if you don't have a pencil and a paper to create a number line? How can we find an equivalent fraction for something? Well, all we have to do is multiply by 1. Okay. And this is the identity property of multiplication. So if I have 8/8 times 1, that is equal to 8/8, right? Okay. Now what if I want to know what is the equivalent to if I need to cut it into 16ths, what would the equivalent be? Well, because we know we have to multiply by 1, we need to figure out 8 times what equals 16. Okay, well, the answer would be 2. And remember, we need to multiply by 1, so it would be 2 halves. So now we're going to find 8/8 times 2 halves equals how many 16ths? Well, 8 times 2 is 16. Got that here. 8 times 2 is 16. So 16/16ths, right? Well, that was really easy because we were working with wholes. So let's go over here. We're going to work with fractions other than wholes. So let's take a look at number 1. And they have this 1 here to tell you that that's what we're multiplying by an equivalent to 1. But we need to know what to multiply to get this number here. So look at the denominator. 3 goes into 6. How many times? If you said 2, you are correct. So we're going to put 2 halves here. Okay, let me erase that and that. All right. So that means 3 times 2 equals 6, right? So then what is 2 times 2? It's 4. So 4/6 is equal to 2/3. That's it. That's all you have to do. So step 1, look at number 2. Step 1, you're looking at the denominators. You need to figure out how many 3's go into 9. 3 times what is 9? If you said 3 times 3 is 9, you are correct. Well, then all we have to do is put the 3 above that too, because we're trying to make one whole there. Okay, so 2/3 times 3/3 is 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 3 is 6. 6/9. Isn't this fun? All right, let's do number 3. We'll do one more with you. Okay, and the way to think about this is, well, why do I need to know this? Well, because what if you brought in 2/3 of a cake and somebody says, oh no, we need to divide that into 12ths because we have 12 people now that are here. That's why you need to know, because there are times where you need to make changes with the different partitions. Okay, so number 3, we have 2/3, and we want to figure out the equivalent in 12ths. So do you remember what to do? Figure out 3 times what is 12? 3 times 4 is 12. And remember that this middle number, this middle fraction has to be the equivalent of 1. Okay, so we put the 4/4 there. And then we can just check our multiplication on the bottom. 3 times 4 is 12. And then let's multiply the top. 2 times 4 is 8. And that's it. Okay, so you'll finish that part, and then I just want to go over the directions for the next 2 sections. Okay, let's look at number 10. Number 10 says, write equivalent fractions using different names for 1. All right, this is where they give you 2. See how they're the same? And then you get to choose what you want to turn them into. So for me, I don't know. I'm just going to choose, let's go tenths. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 2 halves. Okay, so 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 2 is 2. Or you could just make ones in the 1 and then figure it out from there. Okay, so say I want to do 4/4. Then I'll just multiply. 5 times 4 is 20. 1 times 4 is 4. Okay? But that's what you're going to do for 11 and 12. You get to choose what you want to multiply by, which type of one whole that you want to multiply by to get the equivalent fractions. And then for 13, you're going to draw and, what's that say? Color a picture to match the word phrase. All right, so we have to read it so we know what to draw. There's a lot of information here. Look at 13. Okay, 13 says 2 1/3 circles are green. Okay, so what we're going to draw is 2 circles, and because we have a fraction, we need to draw another circle. Okay, and what are we going to divide the circles by? Thirds. Okay, and just do your best to get those in there, just like that. Okay, and then you're going to choose what color did it say? Green. Okay, so then we're going to color. Let me erase that. Okay, now we're going to color 2 holes. So let's do that. This is 1, 2 holes, and 1/3. 1/3. Okay, so then let's double check our work. Okay, 2 1/3 circles. Did I draw circles? Yes, I did. Did you? Are green. Okay. 2 1/3 of them. So here we go. Here's 1, 2, and 1/3 are green. So always double check your work and make sure. All right. Okay. So number 14 says 3/8 of the square is purple. Okay. So you'll need to pay attention to that. And then 5/6 of the triangles are yellow. Okay, so you will finish this page and then turn it in. And also your homework page 225. All right, that's it.